today we're going to be making mulberry jam, and I'm going to be making it the Amish way. So there's a lot to do today. Mulberries are in season and they keep coming in, and my sons and my husband are out picking more of these little babies. So they'll be coming home with some more of these. So what they picked last night, this is the very last of it, and I decided I was going to bring you along for the last batch to show you how we can mulberry jam. Now, this isn't the one that you boys, and I'm talking to my sons here, that were brought up. As you all know, your brother Nikita threw a little conniption fit last year when he saw Mom using lemon juice in the mulberries. Well, he's the one that put this big movement in that I have to make a different jam because that's not the jam that he grew up with. Well, honey, Nikita, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but for your sake and for your sanity, Mom will make the Amish way of mulberry jam, which is just as tasty and everything else. I've made this before, so I know this recipe is good, even though I like my way of doing mulberry jam. But Nikita, here you go. So let's get started. What you're going to be needing is 6 cups of freshly picked mulberries, and that's what I have here in my cast iron pan. Then we're going to be having to add to the mulberries here in our cast iron pan is 1 tablespoon of our 2 cups water. And then, like I said, it calls for 2 cups water, 3/4 cups of sugar. You need 1 3-ounce package of jello, and you can pick out whatever kind. I've used strawberry in the past, but this time I didn't have any strawberry on hand, and I had raspberry, so I'm doing the raspberry mulberry this time. And then you're going to be needing 1 box of pectin, or 6 tablespoons of the Ball Real Fruit Classic Pectin. And of course you're going to be needing your canning jars and canning lids and canning rings. Well, I ran out of jars, so I had to go and get me new ones, so I just figured I'd bring that up because I never brought that up in any other of my videos. You're going to be needing your little debubbler and your little gauge to measure the head space. You're going to be needing a jar lifter. You're going to be needing a ladle. And then in this back here, I put my lids in it with some hot water and vinegar. So, or you can just put vinegar in there too. I've done vinegar in there as well. It's whatever you feel like doing. Alright, we added the 1 tablespoon of water to our mulberries. Now we're going to take our cast iron pan with the mulberries and the 1 tablespoon of water. We're going to put that over on the stove over medium-high heat and bring this up to a boil. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now while our mulberries are coming up to a boil and we have our hot water bath canner also coming up to a boil with what little bit of canning jars I have left over yet. These I have to go throw in the dishwasher and wash up, but I believe I have enough for this batch. Alright, what the instructions tell us to do while the mulberries are on the stove cooking is to combine the 2 cups water, our sugar, and our package of jello. And it also says our pectin. So I'm going to be drying out my measuring spoon so I can measure out the pectin. I'll be right back. Okay, now let's add the pectin as the recipe tells you to. Now remember, I'm not using a box, but I'm using the Ball Classic Pectin. And on the Ball Classic Pectin, it tells you if you're used to using a box of fruit pectin, 6 tablespoons is the same equivalency to a box of fruit pectin. So I'm going to go ahead, add 6 tablespoons of fruit pectin back here. And we add 1 more. Okay, and then it tells us to stir to dissolve all this. So we're going to stir this all up. Let this all dissolve real nice, and then we're going to take it over to the stove and have it ready for when we need to add it. Don't worry, I'll bring you along and you'll be with me at that point. So go ahead, let all this get mixed up really well. And then we'll be coming back. As you see, the mulberries are now starting to release all their juice. So let's keep going on. I just wanted to show you that 1 tablespoon, I know a lot of you were worried that 1 tablespoon of water was going to be evaporated out before you could even see a lick of juice. But no, surprisingly, there is a lot of juice. It just gets things going. So let's keep cooking them and bringing them up to a boil. Okay, as you see, the mulberries are now just coming up to a boil like I told you I want you to bring yours up to. Now what you're going to want to do now is reduce your heat back down to like a low. Put a cover on your cast iron pan and go ahead and we're going to simmer this for about 20 minutes. I'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, about 20 minutes has gone by, and now we're going to add the jello mixture that we made up earlier, and we're going to add all that to our pan here, and we're going to stir that all in, and we're going to bring that up to a boil, and we're going to boil that for 1 minute, and then we're going to remove it from the heat and ladle it all into our jars. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this in and bring this up to a boil. and boil it for 1 minute and ladle it into our jars. Waiting for it to come back up to a boil, and I forgot to mention, I want you to keep stirring this so it does not stick and burn on the bottom. But isn't that pretty? Okay, it's just now starting to come up to a boil. You're going to want to bring it up to a boil that you cannot stir down, and then take your timer, and you want to set your timer for 1 minute when you get to the boil that you cannot stir down, and time it for the 1 minute, and then take it off the stove. Okay, let's go ahead and ladle it into our canning jars. You're going to want to leave 1/4 inch head space. Let me grab my little debubbler. Go ahead and just go ahead, debubble. And I have vinegar back here with my lids. And I just dip a paper towel in the vinegar, and I go ahead and wipe the rim. And I also, ouch, go ahead and wipe the thread part. You never know. And I go in here, I grab a lid, I put a lid on, grab a ring, finger tighten, and go ahead and put that in your hot water bath canner. And I'm going to go ahead and finish filling up the rest of my jars. Right, this batch gave me 5 3/4 pints. No, half pints, sorry. Right, I got 5 3/4 half pints out of this one recipe. So the 3/4 pint that it left behind, I'm just gonna not can that up. We're gonna eat that, and I'm gonna go ahead and can up to 5 pints. Now, the vinegar that I was dipping my paper toweling into, I go ahead and I add all that vinegar to my hot water bath canner because I have hard water here. It helps keep the hard water film and everything off of my jars, and it just makes everything a little bit prettier and a little bit easier for me to clean up after the canning process. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring the hot water bath canner here back up to a boil, and after it's at a boil, I'm going to start the timing process of 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, turn off the stove. Let your jars rest inside for about 5 minutes before removing them. And then when you do remove them, I want you to put them on a kitchen towel. And then we do not disturb the jam for 24 hours. And the next day we come back, we wash our jars all up in hot soapy water. Then we label them, and then we put them into our pantry. So there you go. So bring this back up to a boil, process 10 minutes.